Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Dadas Show, coming to you from Gong Hills Hotel here in Nairobi. I'm your host, Ashiko Mbune. As our name suggests, the Dadas Show aspires to create a platform that will unify and bring together Kenyan women for them to be able to discuss issues pertaining to their health, to their lifestyle, to their children, to their families, and anything that affects them in one way or another. So we recently celebrated Mother's Day, a day that has been set aside in honor of our mothers, the women who gave us life. However, there is a group that the Dadas Show wishes to celebrate and acknowledge on this second part of our Mother's Day special. Now, these are the individuals who step into the role of the mother. They take care, they nurture, and they love these children. And in most cases, these children are not biologically theirs. Many individuals fall into this category. It could be a mentor, it could be an adoptive parent, it could also be a dad raising his daughter single-handedly. Of course, this goes so much so to show us that it surely does take a village. So as usual, we welcome you to join us on all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. We want to hear from you. We want you to give us your feedback. What do you think of our topic today and any other discussion that we have had in the past? Give us your comments on today's topic when we discuss the other mother. But before we jump into our conversation, let's take a look at the following feature.
A mother is a person that puts another person's needs above our own, a person that picks you up when you rather just suck, and a person that pushes you and prays for you and hurts for you. A mother has a soft heart and a strong will, and a mother is a person that loves you at your most unlovable. The role of motherhood in a child's life will always be an important one. The Bible tells us that mothers provide the environment children need to grow into the amazing people God is creating them to be, whether it's in the womb or in the home. Traditionally, the mother was the nurturer and caretaker. The father, in contrast, was the financial provider, disciplinarian with ultimate authority, and a decision maker whose word went unquestioned. There are a million different ways to be a mother, but not all of them begin with giving birth.
I always say that mothers are flowers that beautify wherever their feet step. Mothers are, I think, the glue that sticks the world. They are the ones who they are co-workers with Jesus. They bring out children, they bring them up, and not just their own like me. Mothers should be. Anytime they see a child, they should be the love that these children are seeing.
For Beatrice Malika, her joy was seeing less children in the street and instead wanting better for them.
I'm a mother of two daughters, two girls. One is 19 years and another one is 15 years old. And I'm a mother of I live with 50 children in my house. And a mother of all these 690 children in this school. I'm the director of Glory Christian Education Center and Rescue. How I began this is I began with Bible clubs, just teaching children the Word of God in 2012. From the 12 I began with, within 4 weekends there were 60. I was also coming with lunch. Those times the polythenes were not banned, so I would pack rice and beans and some little jewels in nylon papers. So children like these nice things. So they would come and learn. After learning about God, I'll give them. So I used to live behind Thika Road Mall. That is where my house was. So every time I'll go to work on a weekday, I find the children I teach on Saturday begging. Nibaye mkate, nibaye chai, nibaye kakitu, nipe 10 bob. So I got concerned because other than knowing God, they need an education to also pursue their dreams. So I started following up. Others told me they're on the street because sometimes when their parents go to drink, they don't come the whole weekend. They can go even for a whole week and they have been left with small children. Others will say we've been chased from the government school because of 40 bob exam money. I asked my mom, mommy chased me. So I've decided to go and fend for myself. Because this area there's a lot of drunkenness and drug addictions. So those that I could pay the money, but then I realized the numbers were increasing. And I always say it's God who gave the idea of why can't you start a school that will not be complicated.
Each child is unique and have different needs, and according to Malika, there is no preference when it comes to raising our own biological children and others.
You will love them, okay? But these are your blood. And these are children that God has brought to you. And they have come from different backgrounds, different characters. So we really walk a very long journey. But there is no difference. A child is a child. And children are gifts from God. The way I look at my daughter and the way I look at these other daughters I'm raising and sons, if my daughter is eating, they are eating. If my daughter is in school, they must be in school. So there's not much difference because children are just, I don't know how to define them. But I always say that my heart beats for children. So when I look at a child, for me, children bring a lot of joy.
With growing numbers every day, Glory Christian Education Center has not been able to hold many children who seek education, food, and motherly love.
We have a lot of challenges. The biggest challenge is this place is rented. So because it's rented, we are limited to maybe build anything permanent and things like that. And as you can see, our classes are congested. There's a class that has 70 children. Those are 2 or 3 classes in one. So the biggest challenge we have is space. The other challenge is desks where children should sit. We also have a challenge of stationery. When the more they go to higher classes, they need more books, they need biros, and 600 children in this life of today, it's very hard. We also have a need of uniforms. You've seen even one has come here looking like they've come from sleeping without school uniform. That's also a big challenge for us. Other than just the finances of running the school, like teachers' salaries, because I believe in quality education. So when we hire our teachers, we focus on the qualified teachers. Like our junior high school teachers are university graduates. Our primary teachers are P1 teachers. So when it comes to that, they also need to be paid well because they've gone to school. So sometimes it's normally a challenge.
Being a mother is about so much more than growing a baby for 9 months. It's about unconditional love, support, a listening ear, and a shoulder to cry on.
Welcome back. So joining me today, as mentioned, is a group, are individuals who have stepped into the role, and we will refer to them fondly today as the other mother. So right next to me is a lady who I've grown very fond of over the past couple of episodes, because she has been very, very instrumental in putting together the Dadas show, especially in episodes that are involved with teenagers and raising teenagers. So right next to me is Sue Msandu. Aside from being referred to as everybody's mom, she is the founder of Parenting Teenagers Hub for Kenyans Moms and Dads. It's a Facebook group that is a treasure trove of information, and it's a treasure trove of people to share their experiences and get guidance. So karibu sana Sue Msandu, asante sana for making it today.
Thank you very much, Ashiko. Thank you for inviting us.
Okay. So next, we have Mr. Matthews Mauya. Now, first I have to commend Matthews for, coming on the show as in this estrogen-filled space to actually talk about something that is very commendable. So Matthew Mauya is a father is a father of one girl who we will get an opportunity to meet her. She has graced us with her presence, and he has single-handedly raised his daughter, and I believe now she's just finished campus. Yes. Yeah, so we have to, this is somebody who I definitely have to applaud. And I know that there's so many at home who do the same, but I have to applaud Matthews for actually having the courage to come on to the Dadas show to talk about such a topic. So karibu sana Matthews.
Thank you.
Next, we have Mrs. Lydia Ndiho. Karibu sana Lydia. Lydia is an adoptive mother of one, and she will get to tell us her story on her journey and how she got to adopt this lovely child. And we will dig deeper into adoption and what motivates people, because as far as I'm concerned, I think it's one of the most selfless acts that anybody can have. So that's my panel for you. And of course, I cannot fail to acknowledge my wonderful audience who have taken time to sit with me today. Karibuni sana. So to get the ball rolling today, I'll start off with you, Sue. And first of all, I just want to thank you again for making time off your busy schedule to be able to sit with me. Kindly introduce yourself and tell us how you got to be known as the other mother.
Thank you very much once again, Nashiko. I'm Sue Musando. I grew up here in Nairobi, and my parents, I grew up in a very loving family. My parents were both there. We are 6 children. I'm the firstborn. So that's where my mothering, I think, started.
Yes.
And I schooled in primary school here in Nairobi. High school was also here in Nairobi. Now, my mother was also everyone's mother. So I think I picked it from her, but maybe unconsciously. When I went to high school, my primary school life was very sheltered. So you don't get to see or hear of people who don't have moms. I thought everybody had a mother and everyone had a father. Now when you go to high school, then you realize someone doesn't have a mom or someone doesn't have a father. And I was very touched by my friends or classmates or schoolmates who either didn't have moms when I first knew them, or when their mothers maybe passed on, unfortunately. Because I knew what impact my mother had on us. Of course, bringing you up and wanting, a mother is like a pillar.
Yes.
So that is where now I started becoming conscious that not everyone enjoys this privilege of having a mother. And as I grew older, I got to now start empathizing and wanting to be there for other people who don't have mothers. Or if their mothers are there, maybe their mothers are not able to provide them for one reason or other.
Yes.
So that's how I've ended up being Mama kila mtu. My high school, I ran a project there known as Minimart, where with the old girls, we gather them, we raise money, and we buy shopping enough for a year. And when I say shopping, I mean shopping. Then it's like a supermarket.
Yes.
So the needy girls who are in the school are able to go and pick what they need, be it soap, pads, a comb. So it runs the whole year. So right now we're about to again do the shopping once more. Because you find that on an opening day, a girl comes with nothing, with a kamisi bag and a bar of soap. No shoes, no nothing. So I thought that, okay, this child is here, someone is going to pay her fees, but we'll be doing her shopping. So that's what inspired me to that. So that's one area I'm very passionate about. Of course, when my parents passed on, my dad passed on in 2009, my mom 2019, I became a mother to my siblings.
Yes.
That's another area of parenting. And then, excuse me, I also had a colleague who passed away, and she left her daughter. And I took her high school to college. She's now working in Kisumu. And she has a child, so I'm a grandma also.
You're a grandmother.
Yes. And then in recent years, I started the parenting group. And apparently some of the parents now call me mama parents. So that's another hat I've worn, and I'm very proud to wear it. And I still had a bit more love left over And so I fostered an elephant at the David Sheldrick
Oh, wow.
Wildlife Trust.
I think that deserves a round of applause. How unique is that?
Yeah,
So you've got a baby elephant?
Yeah, she's now a big girl. She's about 8 years now. She was moved
So now you're Mama Elephant.
She's Mama Kamok. She's called Kamok.
Oh, wow. I think that's really nice. I think that's just amazing, Sue. And a lot of, I mean, it just blows my mind about how much love you have to give, and you have to give, and you keep giving, and you're extending it from humans to animals. And I just try and picture what the world would be like, you know, if we had more Sues. You know, so asante sana, we really, really, really celebrate you, Sue, and karibu sana to the Dadas show.
Much.
Allow me to move on to Mr. Matthews. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, and I cannot, tire to reiterate how much I am in awe of you and in awe of what you have done thus far. Because there are very many incidences and there are very many instances where we hear of, once your partner has passed away, they leave the children, or they remarry, or they do this. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know, to each their own. But hanging in there, definitely a man of the older generation, you know. So hanging in there to where you are right now. And first of all, even just having the courage to come to the show. I know of a few men who are going through exactly what you are going through or have been through, but I don't think they would have the courage to stand. So remember, you're representing a whole group of people out there who I'm sure they're cheering you on, brother. So in African society, so allow me to ask this, in African society, when a man is widowed, the society expects, or the society moves very quickly to get you a wife, so that, especially if there were kids involved. What made you decide to go your own way? What made you decide to say, you know what, I'm going to do this by myself? You know, I don't think it was a very popular decision with your kinsfolk.
Thank you.
Yes.
My name again is Matthews Mawia. I came from Bondo Sub-County, Sia County. That's where Imbo West location.
Yes.
Usigu Division, somewhere called Gotaguyu, island,
yes,
called Gotaguyu. That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
What made me, after losing the mother to this girl, it was in 2004. The girl was born in 2000, June. So we stayed with the mother, and 2004, unfortunately, she passed away. So after her passing away, it is like you say that you will be told, can you have this?
Especially from
yes,
the Luo community.
I mean, they will tell you that,
yeah,
we dada, we mama, can you take her?
Ale mtoto.
Yeah, ale mtoto. Me, I thought it wise as a man. And what made me not to marry was, I thought if I get a girl there and marry this girl with this, my young lady girl, you know, love is not easy. This lady will start frustrating my girl.
Yes.
If I got married. In fact, I told my elder brother, kindly, can you leave me the way I am first? I know you want me to marry another girl, but let me take care of this young girl. So the mother died when she was 3.5 years. Then I employed a house girl to take care of her. Then when I came back in the evening from work, nilikuwa napata she was very gloomy looking.
Unashindwa ni nini?
Unashindwa ni nini huyu mtoto? One day nikamuuliza, alikuwa naongea sana na alikuwa amenipenda, mimi pia nilikuwa nimempenda. Akaniambia, dad, huyu huwa ananichuna saa zingine nikitoka. Anakuchuna. The following day nilimwambia huyo msichana, hebu shika hii pesa uende. Wacha nikae na huyo mtoto yangu. So it was hard, but I managed. I managed because sometimes nilikuwa namwacha. Okay, sasa vile aliingia nursery sasa, nilikuwa na asubuhi anaenda nampeleka, naenda kazini. Alafu narudi kumwangalia kama ametoka huko shule. Tukaenda hivyo na umejua kulea mtoto mdogo pia sometimes becomes difficult.
Yes.
And especially when she's a girl.
Especially when she's a girl.
Yes, and I'm a man. So I talked to one of my cousins. Akaniambia, wewe chukua huyu msichana yangu muishi naye, atakuwa anamsaidia kufua nguo zake bado kama yeye ni mtoto. So that's why when I started now moving, going to work, hivyo. So vile aliingia class 1, that is 207, election was done. So after election, 208 vita ikaanza. We had to run,
yes,
go back to
violence.
Yes, because of the election violence. So by the time tulienda nyumbani, sasa tumemaliza, I was to come back to work. By the way, I'm working with the Kenya Forest Research Institute, where she used to work.
Yes.
She was my colleague.
Yeah.
Nikasema, nikauliza brother yangu mkubwa, sasa huyu mtoto, hii vita imekuwa na nataka kurudi huko, tutafanya aje? But through my prayer and everything, my elder brother is like my father, by the way. My elder brother is like my father because she brought me up. I didn't see my father. My father died when we were young.
Yes.
So brother yangu mkubwa amekuwa kama baba.
Ndo amewalea, yeye ndo amekuwa hata wafanya mentorship.
Yes. So akaniambia alikuwa na msichana yake, alikuwa ameishi somewhere inaitwa Lower Girls Primary ama secondary. Akaniambia tunaweza kuongea na nani kama anaweza kubaki na huyu, mpeleke hapo kwanza. That's my story. So I went tukaongea na huyo, nikaongea na huyo msichana ndio ndugu yangu. Akaniambia kama ni huyo dada yangu mdogo, unajua nimekubali kuishi na yeye. Sasa aenda uongee na yeye. But nilikuwa naona huyu mtoto yangu bado nikumwacha huku nyuma nyumbani na nimekuja huku Nairobi. How is she going to survive?
Yeah.
So nikajaribu kumuongelesha juu alikuwa naenda class 2.
Na alikuwa bado mdogo.
Alikuwa bado mdogo, sasa anaenda class 2. Akaniambia dad, mimi naweza kubaki. Unaweza. So tukaenda for interview, akapita. So nilimwacha hapo. Class 2, class 3, class 4, class 5. I think class 6 is when you class 6 sasa nikamweka boarding. Primary. Akaingia sasa watoka kuishi huko, sasa naishi kwa boarding. So every month end I had to go and check up her. Tukaenda hivyo. Mimi bado my brothers wananiambia, bwana so wewe mwanamke mwingine. Nikamwambia bwana wachana mimi.
Wacha nilee mtoto wangu.
So tukaenda hivyo. Akamaliza class 8. Akafanya 8. Akaitwa high school, Lugulu Girls High School.
Wow.
So mimi vile alikuwa naongea ati wazazi wanasemaga wewe uende huko nini. So nikamwambia sasa wewe umeitwa Lugulu High lakini mimi nakupeleka ninio Nyamira Girls. Akaniambia point blank. Dad, uliniambia nisome nitafute shule yangu. Mimi siendi Nyamira, I'm going to Lugulu Girls.
Good for you.
So that's how we continue. Akaenda Lugulu Girls, akasoma, akamaliza, akafanya ninio. Akaitwa KU.
Yeah.
That's where now amemaliza. But raising a girl child is not all that easy. Kuna vitu ambao anza kuwa mkubwa sasa unaona huyu mtoto kuna vitu zingine anahitaji. But I thank God the girl was very free with me.
Yes.
Very up to now. Very free.
Let's move on to Lydia. Mrs. Lydia Ndiho. So when most couples actually, and we have done this on a previous episode of Dadas, when most couples encounter infertility, they sort of throw in the towel at that. They say maybe this is not, these are the cards that life has dealt us. This was not God's plan, and they stop there. But you did not. You went ahead and you adopted. And like I mentioned when we began, for me, that is one of the most selfless things that any person can do. You know, embracing a child who you did not give birth to and raising them and making sure that this is your priority. So tell us about your journey, Lydia.
Okay, so I'm Lydia, and I'm a wealth manager. But on top of that, I'm an adoptive mother. So my journey has been very interesting. So I get married. I'm those people who have ambitions, goals, plans, written all out. And then year 1, year 2, but year 7, I'm like, this goal ain't working.
Yeah.
We need to figure out another solution to me meeting the goal. The goal is to be a mother.
Yes.
That's the goal. That's simply the goal. And so I watch, my partner watches this show and comes and tells me, hey, by the way, see, we adopt. Are you mad?
I mean, I can imagine that would have been my reaction immediately.
Then anyway, so if you know me, I'm those people who you give an idea and you let me stew on it. So I stewed on it for a while. And I did my research. I watched shows, I talked to lawyers, as in, I did everything I could to understand what's this process like, because you also don't want to get into the process and you get tired.
Yes.
And especially after because you have used money on infertility treatments, you've done your IUI, IVFs, all those type of things. So right now you're also broke. So you also don't want to pick something that is also going to be another huge project.
Yeah.
So you kind of weigh your costs and everything. And so after that, so with adoption, you start with an adoption agency. So I shopped around for an adoption agency. I mean, I was in this business to make sure that it works. And that's how I was matched with a child. So I got my baby when she was 7 years old. Now she's a big girl. She's 6 and
7 months old.
She was 7 months old. So she was a baby.
Yeah,
like
she was an infant.
So that the process begins, because I wanted an infant. I wanted the motherhood to feel like motherhood. I don't know how else to put it. So I wanted
it was your way of dealing with it, because if you're going to go this way, then you might as well have the closest experience.
The closest experience.
And
I thank God that I usually say she cured me of all my hang-ups.
Yeah.
Because we started from scratch with her, from weaning her to feeding her, as in for the whole process. We did the whole process together from 7 months we were together till now. So so it's been a journey. I tell people this, I never remember she's adopted.
Oh, wow.
Because to me, she's my daughter. There's no other option. As in, there's no...
Yeah.
I think all I know is this. All I know is...
when you don't know, and I think it's the fact that you've internalized it so much so that you don't see a difference between, and I know, of course, it's going to translate even to when she grows up, as opposed to some instances you hear, and I think that's the reason why some of us may be shy off, because you think, okay, you start off and she was nice and she was beautiful and she was 7 months and she was cute, and then it gets to a certain age. And maybe like the teenage age that we always dread, and they start becoming a bit difficult and you start wondering, So I think there's always the fear, but by virtue of the fact that this is yours, however she will come, whatever will happen, this is yours. Oh my God, I definitely have to. So right now she is, how old is she right now?
6 years old.
She's 6 years
Yes.
old. Wow.
I have this belief that if I had given birth to her, I can't take her back to where I got her from.
Of course.
Yeah, so in the same way, I can't. I
Get tired and say, see wangu.
See wangu rudisha. There's no option for that.
Absolutely.
There's literally no room for that,
Yeah.
especially in Kenya, given that our adoptions are closed.
Yeah.
So you don't know where this child, the root of the child. You just meet the child at the children's home.
Yeah.
So either way, she's yours for life. You know, the way it's structured is you're even asked, you know, are you willing to give her an inheritance? Are you, because it's your child.
So this is your child. We will dig a little bit deeper, especially on the adoptive process, because I'm sure there are so many people even in my audience and at home who want to find out how it works in Kenya. We see in the States, we see in the movies, etc. But we want to find out uko kwa ground inakaa aje for those who would be interested. So we touched up a little bit about even Sue, about raising girls, especially when they get to a certain age. And this is normally the teen age. So you have the group which is parenting teens and?
Parenting teenagers have for Kenyan moms and dads.
For Kenyan moms and dads. What do you think? What are some of the, based on your knowledge, what is the best approach in raising a teenager in the 21st century?
What I can say is that you need to start from day one, from the day the child is born. You need to be able to, as a child continues to grow, the months, you lay down your boundaries, communicating with your child, how you handle your child, and when they make mistakes, how do you correct those mistakes? And it continues until they are now the preteens, and into the teenage years.
So in a situation where we are looking at, okay, so maybe, you know, you didn't start from scratch and now we have the teenagers, which I'm sure most of the members of your group come when they're already there. I mean, what I'm getting from you is time. Can the same time invested, can it still apply if you've sort of just been winging it? You've been winging it and now all of a sudden somebody's 13, 14, 15 years old and they become a complete, you know, they're just a completely different person. Those are some of the things that I know that the viewers were asking. Yeah. What would be some of the things that you would do? The best approach in dealing with a teenager as is?
Okay.
I cannot turn the hand back. You know, I had to work, I had to do, yeah.
I think that's where they say you need to now start also reading a lot, understanding what is happening to the child, knowing who are counselors, who can talk to my child. Sometimes when you as a parent, you need counseling and you don't know.
Yeah.
You're not aware.
Yeah.
So you need to understand, okay, I'm here, we're in this sticky place or this sticky mess. Who do we see, or who can I see, how can I get help for myself or for my child? So I always say it's never too late. Maybe you just need to put a lot more work in a very short span of time.
Yes.
But it's possible for the child to things to change over.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you so much, Sue. We will move on to the next question by for Matthew. Matthew, what are some of the milestones? But of course, I know you had touched on a little bit, but what are some of the milestones that you've experienced? You've talked about the challenges, but I'm sure there are some things that you celebrate in your journey.
Thank you. I have to celebrate some of the things, because for a man to raise a girl and be a big girl is not all that easy.
Of course. That by itself is a huge milestone.
In fact, even my colleagues, they do tell me, you, we umejua kulinda wasichana. And I'm proud of that.
Fantastic. That's a fantastic place for us to go on a break. And we will be back for the question and answer session where we get to interact with our audience. So don't go far away, please. welcome back to the second part of Dadas show. This is the part where the audience gets to interact with the panel. So if you've been following our conversation till this far, I'm sure you have questions at home. So be sure to interact with us on all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. You can reach us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We will always be there to respond to your queries, your feedback, and any comments. So to start us off, we've been going on and on about Matthew's, baby girl, his daughter, his pride and joy. The reason why he's single. I joke. So we will get an opportunity to actually meet Dina, and Dina will tell us a little bit about herself and how her life has been basically till thus far. And I'm sure it will be very encouraging to very many young ladies and young gentlemen in the audience. Okay, so karibu sana, Dina.
I'm Dina. I'm a nutrition student at KU. I'm actually done with school, so yeah.
Welcome to the world. A round of applause for Dina.
Growing up with a single dad has not been any difficult. It has been like I've grown up as a normal kid, literally. Yeah. My dad has given me everything. He's my best friend, so I didn't feel there is something missing, I need a mom or something. I've grown up, he's made sure we have that connection. Yes. Even when I'm in boarding school, he was always calling me every time. I thank God for my teachers in boarding. They understood the situation, so it wasn't hard to communicate to my dad back at home. Yes. Same to high school, and right now, yeah, we still talk. I think the only part I ever felt I don't have a mom was in high school. There was a day that was set aside as Mother's Day special. Yes. So the school was your mom has to come, and no men are allowed. So I'm okay. So those of us who don't have moms, how are we going to? And our teacher was maybe your class teacher can step in for you or something of that sort. But at the end of the day, they understood, and they allowed those of us who don't have moms for our dads to come. So I've grown up as a normal child. I can't say there is anything I've missed or felt I needed a mom or something. I think even at the time my mom was passing away, I wasn't aware as much. Yeah. So growing up, it was not where is mom or something. Yeah, it was so normal.
Wow, I think that is a testament to what a good job you've done, Matthews. By the way, I'm blown away by it, because this is testament. We don't even have, the proof is in the pudding, guys. It's right here in front of us. And for her to feel that there's, and for sure you are a normal girl. There's absolutely nothing wrong with your life and how you've grown up. You're very normal, especially because your father has served both as your mother and your father. And today we celebrate you. Remember, Mother's Day has just passed, but today is Mother's Day here on Dadas Show, and this is our mothers. So happy Mother's Day to our fantastic panel over here. Asante sana, Dina, and we wish you all the best as you move forward in your career. Asante sana. So next we have a question or a comment from Mariam.
Thank you. My question goes to Lydia. I would like to know, what are some of the challenges you faced as an adoptive mom in regards to what the society's take concerning adoption?
The challenges are many. One, there's the thought that this is not your child. Umenunua mtoto. I don't know where we got this story from, but adopted children are not bought. There's no money that is exchanged.
Really? Oh gosh, still look at me. Showcasing my ignorance.
We don't buy children.
Yeah.
We follow, there's a legal process that we follow. So huyo mtoto hajanunuliwa. There's the other one I have been asked a couple of times is, will you give her an inheritance? But she's my child, so definitely she'll inherit from me. There's all this other thing of, where did she come from? What if the family
they come,
wakimkujia. In adoption, once that child is yours, by law, it is yours, it cannot be changed. You're even issued a new birth certificate. So there's no there's no we're going to come and pick the child from you at some point, unless you did this process illegally, and that's a whole different story. But if you did the legal set out way of doing adoption, you will not have those problems. And then people asking me, what if she kills you in the night, or she steals from you, or if she goes rogue? She's a child like any other child. So I believe in, as Sue has said, bring up the way a child in the way they should go, and they will go in the correct way. Thank
you so much, and of course I do encourage you. I'm very, very curious, and I do want to tap into that resource in terms of the adoption resource center, and find out more. And we will share that with our viewers, of course, on all our social media platforms, of course, at KBC Channel 1. So our next question comes from Carol.
My question is to Sue Msandu. First of all, I want to commend you for that big heart. Being a parent to 3 kids, I find that I don't think I can have so much love for others. But my question is this: how are you able to maybe identify people who are taking advantage of your big heart? How are you able to identify that this person is genuine and therefore they need help? Thank you.
That's a very good question. First of all, there are many challenges. And the good thing is people don't come to me to take care of them. I decide who I'm going to take care of, or who I'm going to help, who I'm going to work with. Because as you know, there are people out here who can take advantage of you, but they're not going to tell me to take care of them. I see it even on social media, even in the group. The people say, oh, I don't have school fees, but I'm not Red Cross, or I'm me. So I'm the one who decides this is a deserving case. This one I need to talk to. Even when I go to my former high school, there's some children who I just see need a mother or a big sister to talk to them. And I talk to them, and I work with them, and I visit them. But in that way, it means I also do my due diligence before I invest emotionally on something or someone. Yes, I think that has kept me going. And I also find it very easy to say no when I mean no, it's a no.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I do commend you for that, because I think of like Carol very rightfully put, your big heart, you'll attract all sorts of characters out there. So I'm happy that you are protecting yourself in that case. We have our next question or comment coming from Rachel.
My name is Rachel. I work with kids to support them, to coach them, to mentor them, and also support parents in connecting with the children as they navigate through life. I'm so encouraged. It is a fantastic show, and I'm very excited even to hear what our dear panelists are doing. Honestly, every child is looking up for a responsible adult who will work with them. They desire. No one chooses where they are born. No one chooses who's going to be their parent. But life happens. So it's very encouraging to know that we can have responsible people who are taking that responsibility and knowing whatever I am, I can give my best to the child. Children out there are suffering. I've been in the education sector for long, and I can tell you, children are suffering, children are hurting because they don't have someone to look up to. And when you see people who are looking up to, even that way, I'm so encouraged, Matthias, that you can really come up and parent a daughter, parent a child, and show the society, see, it is possible. It's very encouraging. Thank you so much. Adopting a child and saying, I am there for you, it's a great thing. And as parents, we need to look up to where we can network. How can we get help for our children? How can we do it better? And people like Sue there, I'm sure you're really doing a great job there. So many people are getting help in that very small way. You speak to lives. It said that it takes a village to raise a child. Then it also takes a village to support a parent or support parents. Thank you very much.
Those are very encouraging words, Rachel. Asante sana. And I'm sure every so often someone just needs to be given a pat on the back and to be told, you know what, it may seem like a thankless job, but we see you. We see you, we celebrate you, we acknowledge you. And that's what the Dadas show today is here. We see you guys, we celebrate you, we acknowledge you. You know, keep up with a good fight. So finally, we have our question from Lucy.
Thank you. My question goes to Lydia. Lydia, I'd like to congratulate you on the good work that you're doing. Actually, as Ashiko puts it, it's very selfless, so a very good job. Every child deserves a mother. But now there's this notion that is out there that, like you put it earlier, that children are bought, that the process of adoption is so tiresome and cumbersome, and most people would rather not go through it. Would you like to put some insight on that for us, please?
Thank you so much. That's an excellent question, Lucy. You know, and I think even for most people living at home, they do want to find out, and we will be sharing this information on our social media pages. What's the process of adoption like in Kenya, from your point of view?
Okay, so if you decide to adopt, first thing you need to do is find an adoption agency. So in Kenya, we do not adopt directly from children's homes, given some children are not free for adoption.
Yes.
There's some children who the mother is incapacitated, she's in prison, whatever. So that child is not free to be adopted. So they're in a children's home, yes, but they're not free for adoption. So a child who is free for adoption is a child that either was dumped or given up as a mother offer. So the mother said, I can't do this, went to the children's office and gave up custody of the child. And so that child is then put in a children's home. So once you go to the children's agency, adoption agency, we have quite a number. We also have a government one. So we'll put the information out. Once you go to an adoption agency, you'll fill in a lot of paperwork. I will not lie. But that's because, truthfully, we still have to protect this child as much as we want to get the child a home. So you fill a lot of paperwork in. We do not discriminate on any condition, whatever your condition is, provided you can take care of this child. That's all that is matters. Then, after you fill in the paperwork, there's an adoption committee within the adoption agencies that meet and confirm that these parents are fit to pick a child from a children's home and adopt the child. After that, once they approve, then the children's worker, the social workers run the adoption scene because they're the ones who know where the children are. You don't, truthfully. So they will locate a child. In Kenya, you pick a child from wherever the child is found. So if you're in Nairobi and the child is in Kisumu, you just go to Kisumu to pick that child because that's where the child is available. If you're a lady, you adopt girls. If you're a man, you adopt boys. If you're a couple, then you're allowed to adopt a boy or a girl, whichever works for you. After that, once they find the child, you have a bonding session. So you're allowed to say no if the child doesn't spark an interest. I remember for me, I met my daughter and I knew she was mine. As in, there was no question. I was like, please pack her up. This is my child. I'm going home with her.
Oh, wow.
But you know, for some people it takes 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and they allow you that moment to just keep seeing this child, feeding the child, learning their routine, and then they allow you to do your own medical checkups to make sure that what am I getting myself into? Not necessarily to say no to the child, but I think it's a good thing to know what you're getting yourself into.
It is, yeah.
And then you take the child home and you start what they call fostering. So for 3 months, you're under supervision from the children's department, from the children's home, and from the adoption agency. So they're visiting your home to confirm that you're bonding with this child, that this child is comfortable being in your space, and you're comfortable having the child in your space. So after 3 months, you're given a letter now to take to your lawyer, or if you're going to represent yourself, to take to court, that says you have passed through the fostering period, and they are comfortable to give you the child to adopt. Then you now go file the paperwork with our court system. Now, the truth is, our court system is what takes the longest. In that whole period, But I usually say, because the child is home, it's okay. You guys take your sweet time.
Oh yeah, at this point the baby is at home.
He's at home. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
enjoying bonding with the baby. The baby is my baby. So, you know, and
Take your time,
Take
yeah.
your time as long as you want. The child is home.
Yeah.
So there's no urgency. But you go to court and now you have a hearing. You first have a hearing. The judge confirms all the paperwork is correct. If it is not, you're sent back. And that including police reports. So it's a whole society that is behind adoption, because the police are involved, the local children's department is involved, the social workers are involved. So everyone needs to have given you the reports by the time you're going to court. And then then you get a guardian ad litem, who is a guardian is someone who is appointed by the court to make sure that the interests of the child are upheld. Not necessarily what you wrote, not necessarily what the children's department wrote or whatever, but she's an advocate of the child, and that's important. That's an important step, because she's the one who now gives the judge an impartial decision.
Yeah.
And then after which we have another hearing confirming that all the information you gave in the first hearing is okay, and then now we are given a judgment or a ruling. And most of the time, unless you did an illegal thing and the judge caught you, and therefore this child has to be returned back to the children's home, and you restart the process, the ruling will be in your favor. Or the judge will ask for additional paperwork. Then the ruling is in your favor, and then you go and you file that adoption decree. It's a decree with the Sharia house for birth certificates, then you get a birth certificate. So the court process takes about 8 months. I will not lie. But before that, it takes about, depending on what's going on, 6 months. So the whole process will take
So we're
about
saying give or take about a year and a half, and you have your lifelong best friend.
And you're sorted.
And you're happy.
Yeah.
I like that, and that's a lot of information, and that's really good. And I know maybe some of us have been able to grasp one or two things, but like you said, the key point is these children were not bought.
No.
There was no money that exchanged hands anywhere.
No.
So that's one myth I am very, very proud to bust to you, my wonderful viewers. Adoption, there's no money that changes hands. So when you're walking around and you know that this parent adopted the child, don't go around saying, ulimnunua pesa ngapi. Come on, let's be sensitive about some of these things, and let's educate ourselves. So before we close, I do want to offer Mr. Matthews an opportunity to give advice to any gentleman. I know it's a Dadas show, but I want to give this opportunity to a gentleman to talk to the gentleman at home.
What I can give to people who are like me, when you lost your wife, you must be ready to usikimbie haraka. Compose yourself. Ask yourself, why should I run and marry another lady? If you run and marry another lady, it looks like you didn't love the one who wapenda. Sasa mimi bila ameenda, wacha nichukue mwingine. Take your time. Na ukiwachwa na mtoto, if you like going out to friends so much, limit yourself and compose yourself to your child. In fact, women we like going to sit somewhere in the evening. Itafanya, you will have to reduce that so that huyu mtoto ajue niko na somebody who is looking after me. But usikimbie, rafiki wasikudanganye, chukua kama uja decide. Because friends will tell you, take another woman. Why do you wash your vyombo hapa na mama wako?
Unaosha napi?
Just take your time. One day you'll get someone to stay with.
Okay.
When the children are comfortable now. That's what the advice I can give to those people who are outside there.
Okay, then. Thank you so much. And I believe that's a very wonderful place for us to end the show. And we have come to the end of today's very interactive, very informative and insightful episode. We've come to the end of this episode, and it's been a very informative, very insightful, and very, enlightening episode that we have had today. Of course, I want to thank my wonderful panel for making time to do this, my wonderful audience for their questions and their comments and the words of encouragement. So be sure to reach out to us on all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. So on behalf of my production team at KBC, my wonderful location partner, Ngong Hills Hotel, and myself, Ashiko Mbone, I wish you all a lovely week, and I will see you same time, same place next week. Bye-bye for now.